Hey guys, it's Lauren. I'm doing the discussion board assignment 6 for Dr. Glass about self-disclosure. First, I'm just going to start off with the definition, as I'm sure everyone knows it, but it just helps me because I wrote all this down. Self-disclosure in therapy is when a therapist shares their own personal views or experience with the client with purpose of improving the client's emotional or mental state. Keep in mind it should be done only for the purpose of helping the client and not meet the needs of the therapist. That is very, very important, and I do comment on that a lot. Um, so you'll see that. In my opinion, self-disclosure by the counselor in the counseling session is that I'm all for it. I've used it before. I believe it makes the client aware that they are not the only one that is going through this situation, and that others have been able to handle what has happened and get back to their routine again. For example, many times at the high school, I was the school social worker. I worked with teenage girls, and they would come in and speak to me about classmates, call them names like ugly, fat, or other disturbing names and gestures that I rather not say or speak upon because I just don't like those words. Um, and when they would go into the story or tell me what happened, I guess not a story, but tell me what happened, I would tell them how badly I was picked on, and that I went through a lot of the same things where people, other girls would say things that dirty things, not dirty, but things about me, like being ugly, or I was too skinny, or I was weird, or whatever, just mean things. And they were shocked. They were very shocked. A lot of the girls were. They could not believe it. They would say, you're so nice, you're pretty, etc. And I'm like, hey, it happens to it really does happen to a lot of girls today. It's just, I would, go on and tell them about being in high school and the pressure of being a teenage girl. And for me, when I did this, I felt like the girls trusted me more and opened up to me. And with that being said, self-disclosure can increase the trust of counseling relationship, and the client will feel less alone knowing their helper, me, had experienced the same issue. So I found that it worked well, and I used it in the fact for to let it benefit the client. Didn't benefit me. It just I felt it benefit them, and I would I would always not wrap myself up in it being about me, but to them. I would keep it very simple and vague. So yeah. Um, I want you to explain how you feel about the counselor self-disclosing to the client. Um, are you for it? And if I said before, yes, I'm for it. And if used correctly, I'm for it, and I'm for it, and it is used correctly. Yes, I'm for it, and look, I'm for it when it's used correctly. So, yes, it is important for counselors to maintain a minimum amount of self-disclosure and use when needed. Um, Clients may become too comfortable with the counselor and begin to see you as a friend instead of a professional. That's what I was going back to. I think some of the girls, considered me a friend, so to say, but we kept it very professional. I mean, I was always Miss Moore, and I think it was hard for them to realize that I was, 29 or 30 when I was there, but it, I mean, you know your limits, and you know who you are, and you can kind of prevent that from happening. Um, Begin to see the friends. And going back to timing, I say this because poorly timed self-disclosure can increase the mistrust. This may make the client question your motives or even see you as getting too involved. So you got to make sure the timing's right, and not to step in and do self-disclosure when it's just not benefiting the client at all. And knowing when to self-disclose is important, as well as when you're doing it. So make sure you keep in mind your code of ethics. That's very important. And I'm talking about the counselor code of ethics. Keep in mind, ethical principles that draw to my attention when speaking of self-disclosure include doing good to the patient, and self-disclosure doing good to the patient and doing no harm. So again, self-disclosure is okay when it benefits the client. It should not be intended to gratify the therapist's needs. Therapists have to keep in mind and ask themselves questions if such exposure is likely to interfere the effect of the therapeutic process in any way when using this method. I believe the counselor should be brief. Like I said, be very brief. Don't ramble on and on and on like I do in these videos. And limit details of their disclosure to what is most to benefit the client. And also consider that the client and the effect of disclosure, what it would have on them. So definitely keep that in mind. But it's important to what you decide to say and the timing. So that's my opinion. That's what I think of it. But and I guess that's it. So I hope this helps, and hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. And I'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.